Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Tech Today. I'm your host Ayush Elavadi. Now on the show, we strive to bring you technology across the gamut. Right from the most affordable phone and tech out there to the biggest big boy toys out there in the market. Now, when we're talking about flagships, yes, we have foldables and we love covering them on the show. Galaxy Unpacked coming very soon. And then you have flagship wearables and all that kind of stuff as well. But then sometimes, even in the automotive world, we look at flagships. That's when you bring in the Range Rover SV. The Special Vehicle Operations wing of the Range Rover team has come up with this absolute beauty, luxury tech at its finest. You're talking about signature, flagship, and then one level above that as well. That's what the SV is all about. Let me tell you what makes it so special or so signature in this special segment on Tech Today. Now, when a company like Range Rover says that they're making a special edition, the first thing you want to know is all about the price. So usually, we give you the spoiler right at the end. Now, spoiler alert, the price, it starts at nearly 4.1 crores. So that's ex-showroom on road. It's closer towards 5 crores. Now, that's the price of a 1 BHK in Mumbai and so much more in the rest of the country. So yes, this is not a car for everyone, but it is an SUV where luxury meets performance, and the sort of engineering marvel and the technology that is used in this vehicle is something that the whole world can stand up and look up to and perhaps pick up a few tricks to see some of these features in SUVs, EVs and cars that we have on the show and across the world in the years to come. Yes, there are very special materials used in the Range Rover SV, of course, because it's signature, but the real tech is in the wheels of the car. Active noise cancellation means that no matter what the sounds are outside, the microphones are picking up the ambient sounds and then making sure that the cabin is insulated. I'm guessing there's a little bit of transparency because if there's some glaring emergency sound or a horn or an ambulance, you can hear those, of course. But otherwise, the surround sound that you don't want to hear, well, that's all cut out with active noise cancellation. And that's a big deal in the Range Rover SV, but I'd like to see that across other cars as well. Now, as tech enthusiasts and tech geeks on the show, the first thing that your eyes fall on is the panel and the kind of user experience, user interface. What kind of software are they using? I think with the Range Rover and the Jaguar lineup, across the entire lineup around the world, wherever we've driven their vehicles, their EVs, they have a very consistent Apple-esque sort of approach. In fact, sometimes I think they do things even better than a lot of smartphone manufacturers with their layout. It's consistent, it's classy, the color scheme seems to work. Apple CarPlay works seamlessly. In a matter of seconds, wireless Android Auto and CarPlay are sorted. And most importantly, if you want to access some of the features to do with the engineering or some of these safety things, dynamic stability control, auto brake hold, ride height. Now this, with off-road, you can obviously lift the car a little bit. So if I'm, coming across a set of potholes, just quickly hit off-road. And while the car is driving on this main road, on the highway, you've already gone up by, well, quite a decent amount. You can also go to normal mode and it gets the job done as well, because this is a very big car. Now, first things first, when you're sitting in this big boss seat, yes, there's enough leg room, but most likely, unless you have a bodyguard or some security guard sitting in the front, if it's just you being driven around maybe with your significant other, because in the SV, it's a clear four-seater. Because of this first change that I'm going to tell you about, things are a little different. So let me tell you, the first thing that I do as soon as I sit in the rear seat is I set it up to recline. And just like that, there's even more room for maybe someone who's 7 feet tall. Way too much room for me. There you go. Footrest out and you're all set perhaps to be chauffeured around. But then this is the SV. It's no ordinary car. So I'll tell you why it is so different. If you actually come in over here and you see this white ceramic. No, this is not just a place to keep your phone or something like that. What it is, and the minute I flick this button, watch, as some SV magic happens, out of thin air, a proper table which you can use. And again, this is not just for my phone. So what am I going to be using this for? Well, there's one more use case which is specific to this particular vehicle, and that happens to be something right behind me over here. I hit open and there you go. The fridge has opened up. You've got 2 chill glasses for whatever you want. Place them right here. Have a nice meal as well in the rear seat of the SV, and we're all set to take you for a little drive. Well, you've seen all sorts of cars here on Tech Today with all their technology displayed in all its splendor. And yes, with most of them, especially cars like the Thar or the EQS, I like to be in the driver's seat. I felt it once with the BMW i7, where of course there was so much happening, and that foldable screen that we showed you, which is unparalleled in any EV, and now the Range Rover SV. Yes, you felt it in the autobiography, but this just takes things up a notch with a fridge over here, a table, and maybe a million ways in which you can customize this car. Look, you're spending a lot of money, like I said. A 1 BHK somewhere in Mumbai is the cost of this car. But then with that, you get so many features on offer. Even if this was, well, a chauffeur service, this is the car, and this is the seat I'd want to be sat in. Maybe not the front seat, definitely not the passenger seats here or here. You can put other people out here. The secret to a road trip in the Range Rover SV is you call dibs, shotgun this seat, and enjoy the ride. I'll tell you something, in terms of the design and the engineering, the Range Rover teams have done some really cool stuff. If you think of how they've managed to hold on to that heritage a few decades old and still make it look modern, make it look mean, muscular, and also luxurious enough for your favorite celebrities and heads of state to be in this particular vehicle. But then one thing that us common folk who get to drive the car would love doing is, in this sort of weather, in Mumbai, if you can have the tailgate pop up for you like this. Well, like I said, if you're not 6 feet tall and you're struggling to access the rear of the car or even the front or this lovely tailgate that I'm going to show you, then all you have to do is press this button. And just like that, the car, which was almost this high, has come down to an access height that makes it much easier for me to use this particular vehicle. Well, there you go. My lovely picnic spot all set up. This is actually utilitarian. It can take a couple of 100 kilos, and clearly I'm not that heavy. Have a nice seat right here at the back. Some nice SV cushioning. You can take a nice little backrest. Beverage of choice, and enjoy the sights and sounds wherever you are. This, of course, is a beverage that came from the fridge in the rear seat. But let's give you a little bit of a verdict in a nutshell. The car drives really well. It is luxury tech at its finest. And there's a whole set of features that some might seem excessive, but if you're spending that kind of top dollar on a vehicle, then you sort of expect some of these features. What I like about the Range Rover line is, and it's a DNA that can perhaps be, well, spread out across the JLR lineup and then maybe across the Tata Motors lineup as well, is that while you are really modernizing with all sorts of enhanced tech, crazy features and great engineering, you're also managing to hold on to the heritage with some classic design elements. Of course, you're wearing that badge of honor, and it's also a very capable off-roader with wave sensing. And in a Mumbai monsoon, yes, it's massive to navigate, but once you do get used to it, it is an absolute joy to drive. It's a joy to drive, it's a joy to be driven in. We've had all sorts of high-end cars, luxury sedans, the i7s, the EQSs on the show. First look, always on Tech Today, here on India Today. But I personally am an SUV buff. And while we do enjoy all the off-roaders and the luxury that comes with some of the vehicles we've had on the show, the Range Rover SV is truly the pinnacle of luxury, of high-end tech, and that sense of classic adventure as well. And you can enjoy your beverage of choice right here in the Range Rover SV. I'm going to see you in the other half of the show, but let me know what you think of the Range Rover SV and our attempt to bring it to you here on Tech Today. Now, when we talk about the biggest buzzword of 2023, it happens to be artificial intelligence. Is it a boon or a bane? Is it going to change the world, take your jobs, or augment or enhance existing jobs and the workforce? Now, that's a question which is $1 million one, but one thing that needs to be addressed is taming the beast that is AI. How are different countries looking at it? And is it genuinely a technology that can be tamed? Or a new cause of action arises every second or every prompt that you use with AI and the kind of output you get with it? Here's a Tech Today special report on AI regulations across the world.
Well, artificial intelligence has become an integral part of our lives, from voice assistants to autonomous vehicles to chatbots. It is omnipresent. With its rapid advancements, concerns about AI's impact on society have also grown. To address these concerns, Indian IT Minister of State Rajiv Chandrasekhar said that his team is working on a Digital AI Regulation Act. But as you all tech enthusiasts know, AI is a borderless technology, and countries across the globe are trying to figure out how to tame this beast. So on Tech Today, we are going to take you across the globe to see how AI regulations around the world look like. Jet set, let's go! Let's head over to our neighbors, China. The country has been actively shaping its AI regulations for over half a decade now, based on its experience with regulating internet and cryptocurrencies. The Chinese State Council established the Next Generation Artificial Intelligence Development Plan back in 2017 and has since published ethical guidelines for artificial intelligence. They have also introduced laws addressing algorithmic recommendations on systems and deep synthesis technologies to combat issues like deepfakes. Additionally, China's Cyberspace Administration is finalizing draft measures for generative AI services, ensuring the safety and accuracy of AI-generated content. Next stop, Japan. Japan, known for its advancements in technology, has developed AI strategies and regulations that align with their major project called Society 5.0. The country's approach focuses on human-centric AI and includes social principles, R&D guidelines and governance guidelines for AI implementation. Now, let's fly across to Europe. The European Union has chosen to regulate AI from the top down. The use of artificial intelligence in the EU will be regulated through the AI Act. The Draft AI Act defines AI systems and sets out risk categories like unacceptable risk, high risk and limited risk. Each category has corresponding obligations. It also grants data subjects rights and regulates governance, liability and sanctions related to AI. Our next stop is the USA. In the United States, the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy has published a non-binding blueprint called the Blueprint for the Development, Use, Deployment of Automated Systems. This blueprint outlines 5 principles to minimize potential harm from AI. Moreover, lawmakers are actively working with industry insiders like Sam Altman to build a framework for licensing and regulating large language models. North of the US, in Canada, the federal government has submitted the draft law C-27, known as the Digital Charter Implementation Act 2022. This act contains the Artificial Intelligence Data Act, Canada's first AI regulation. AIDA aims to regulate the trade of AI systems, reduce risk and biased outcomes associated with high-performance AI, and prohibit harmful practices in handling data and AI systems. So that is how AI regulation has been shaping up across the globe. Back to you, Ayush.
Oh, you guys are still watching Tech Today. You must be liking this show. Well, when you're sat in the back of a luxurious car, then there's always a big boss seat, which happens to be this one. Press the button, the seat's begun to recline as much as it can, and there, the footrest will come out as well. But the one thing I want to do is watch some content on this rear screen. Now, when we talk about, well, content right here, and I love the fact that the screen is just folded towards me. This bit is continuing, so what I'm going to do is just stop it right here, right? And what we will do is talk about the next story, which is an interesting one. Tata Sky, or Tata Play, as they call it, has reinvented itself, well, several times. But now, I don't know how many of you guys actually have a set-top box and how many of you guys watch this show on YouTube or an OTT service or maybe on our Instagram feeds. That's how digital is taking over, but that doesn't mean that the OG set-top box and DTH companies are going to take it, well, lying down. They're reinventing themselves yet again. And now an OTT aggregation service by Tata Sky or Tata Play is called Binge. And all sorts of content will be available on this service. So Business Today's Prerna Lidhu caught up exclusively with their MD and CEO Harit Nagpal and found out what the master plan is all about. And honestly, the real question should be where you're going to be watching Tech Today in the future. Here's a special report.
Let's talk about the reinvention part first. How has the rebranding been? The sister arm, as we can call it, Tata Binge, how has the response been there? Because it's your entry into a new uncharted territory called OTT. So how has that experience been for you?
It is charted and uncharted both. Charted because we have been in the business of distributing content. Content that others have produced, content that people want to watch. Our job essentially has been to, for television, has been to tie up with the broadcasters, put the channels together and present it in a manner that makes it easy to subscribe and easy to discover for the customers. That was the mantra that we were following. Now, if a certain portion of our subscribers have started watching on-demand content, then it's our job as industry leaders to create a platform which gives them the same facility for OTT also. That was the intention. That's what we went into the market with. So we started working on this platform, I think, about 3 or 4 years ago. It was an absolutely different platform. The earlier one was based on satellite. This is based on the internet. So we had to create a new platform. We had to forge new alliances. We had to get new customers. We had to deliver a different customer experience. And that's been the journey so far.
Everyone I talk to tell me that instead of the OTT players, because how many OTT platforms are people expected to subscribe to, it's the time of the aggregators, and you have caught on to that trend early on, if I may say so. So how challenging was it, and how is the journey going to be? Because even in this space there is competition coming up, even in the aggregation space. So how is that going to develop according to you?
So yeah, I mean, it is going to be difficult for a subscriber, a person who wants to watch content, to have subscription relationships or commercial relationships with multiple apps. So that's the basic starting point that we had. And the second was, if you've got 20 apps or 15 apps or even 5 apps you subscribe to, looking around for content of your choice through them would take you an evening. You don't want to spend that evening searching for content. You want to spend the evening watching content. That was the starting point. So that's what we started with. It took us about a couple of years to build the platform, forge some relationships with broadcasters. It wasn't easy because being internet based, everybody wanted to go direct to the customer and not go through an aggregator. But we knew that in the end, sense would prevail. The need of the customer would become supreme, and that's where we came in. So we've spent about the last couple of years trying to perfect this platform. Now that we are confident of it, we are taking it outside our customer base. So we've actually spent the last 2 years testing this platform with our own DTH customers. because they would be definitely more forgiving, even if we were making mistakes. But now that we are very confident about the platform, we are taking it out.
And hello, everyone. Hello. We got a namaste moment.
Well, just getting a little nostalgic watching all the big episodes we've done on Tech Today. It's been a roller coaster ride, and I end up watching it often on YouTube, see snippets of it on Instagram, Twitter as well. Strangely, I know that's not really the medium of choice, but I end up watching the show live when you're watching it on TV, often when it's live on Twitter as well, where we get a lot of traction. And when you do put up snippets of the show on Instagram, there's all sorts of engagement and people talking about what you're doing next, who you're meeting next, and what's happening in the world of technology at large. But like I said, there's a lot of the DTH guys really reinventing. And then, of course, OTT, which is taking and showing no signs of stopping, so to speak. So in this whole DTH versus OTT, where do you watch your favorite content? Do you even own a set-top box in 2023? We wanted to understand what you, the Tech Today community, thinks of the age-old battle, which is now a modern battle as well. DTH versus OTT. Here's a Tech Today special.
Do you watch content on TV or OTT platform?
OTT.
I go for OTT.
These days mostly on OTT platforms.
I like OTT. TV.
OTT.
I generally prefer OTT platform.
Because it's very easy to watch. In my hand, I can watch anytime, anywhere, on the go.
I find that mobile is more convenient, especially Netflix. Netflix is a platform where I can watch all kind of whatever I want it. Like it is adventurous, it is, love, movies, updated, everything is available. When everything is available on OTT, why we need to go to TV?
We have been staying away from home for too long, so for the hostel life, the habit of watching TV is gone because we never had access to TV during our hostel days. And then the OTT platform came, so it was more convenient. On top of that, in TV we feel there is always a time constraint, so we have to watch it on a particular time, and these days we usually watch things whenever we are free as per our convenience, so that way OTT is way more convenient.
Mainly I use Amazon Prime or Disney Hotstar. There are several kind of horror films are there, sports contents are there. We can use OTT like Disney Hotstar to watch matches, football, cricket, like that. So एक तो बड़ी screen का experience है उसके बाद regarding to that we can watch on a big screen like match and IPL and all.
I would say like YouTube is my general watch content. 90% of the time I will be available on YouTube because YouTube has shorts and all those kind of stuff. So there you can go for it.
The kind of content I have been consuming for the last couple of years, mostly it comes on Prime, I have seen. So yeah, for most of my free times, Prime is the go-to OTT platform for me.
I usually watch on my phone because I can watch it anytime, anywhere. I usually watch Netflix. Also, there is no mood, sometimes I want to watch comedy or romantic films, so it's very easy to watch it.
From your favorite big boy toys to what's happening in the world of social media, content, and so much more. As always, it's been an action-packed episode of Tech Today, and we have loved putting it together for you. What did you think of the show? Do let us know on our social media handles. I'm going to go for a little bit of a road trip, but until next week, adios.